Guys, it's the Coaster Battleman here, bringing you an awesome coaster countdown of the top 10 roller coasters at Six Flags St. Louis. I made this type of video, the top 10 coasters at Six Flags St. Louis, a while ago, back when my channel was pretty young and there weren't too many videos on my channel. And I thought the list wasn't that good eventually, because I've heard some good things about their coasters and some bad things. So that's why I'm making a top 10. And I am including their new 2016 Super Loop, which some people call a coaster or not a coaster. And let's move on. Number 10 is the Vekoma MK1200 of the park, Ninja. This is one of those very rough Vekoma looping coasters. It's pretty rough. The inversions are fine. The layout's fine. But the way the ride is, it's very rough. The track type isn't that good. It's a very rough coaster, and definitely the worst coaster at Six Flags St. Louis, even though it's not a kid's coaster. Number 9 is Pandemonium. This is a Gerstlauer spinning coaster. It's an okay ride. It's actually pretty good. 6.5 out of 10. The only problem with it is that it is a clone, and it's not the most thrilling. But still, you get spun around a lot, which is pretty cool. I love that spinning element. But other than that, this is not the best coaster at Six Flags St. Louis. Number 8 is the Larson Super Loop, new for 2016, Fireball. Now, obviously, this isn't a picture of Fireball. I tried my best to find a good Larson Super Loop-like picture, and we're moving on. Number 7 is River King Mine Train, and this is an okay mine train. It's actually pretty good, but in smoothness for a mine train, it's actually pretty smooth, but it meanders around a lot. There's 3 lift hills, which is pretty cool, but I think this coaster could have been a bit stronger, but what do you expect from a mine train? It's not that fast, not too tall, but the ending is the best part with that drop under through a tunnel, I think is the best part. Number 6 is Screamin Eagle, the classic wooden coaster of the park. This is actually a pretty good ride, according to some people. I think it's a decent ride. It's not the worst, it's not the best. I think it's okay. It's smooth. It's not rough at all, in my opinion. But overall, I thought the airtime wasn't as good as I thought. But I still think this is a very fun coaster. A lot of people love the airtime on this ride. I personally am not the biggest fan of this ride. I don't really like the eagle screaming on the wooden track that much. But still, I think that eagle screeching on the track when you go through turns makes the ride have some theming. Number 5 is their Vekoma Boomerang, which is technically named Boomerang. It's a Vekoma Boomerang. We already know what these models are like. Moving on. Number 4 is another clone, Batman the Ride. Now, this is a B&M invert, not the original B&M invert built, but it is one of many clones. The color scheme is actually pretty good. I love the black track, black supports. I think it's good for Batman the Ride, unlike the yellow track and gray supports. And I think this is a pretty good ride. It's compact, intense, the inversions are pretty fun. And overall, this is a pretty smooth ride, depending on which clone you ride. And it's very fun. Number 3 is the GCI American Thunder. A lot of people really like this GCI. I think it's one of those underdog GCIs that not too many people talk about. And overall, this GCI is a very good ride. And overall, a fun ride. Number 2 is the Boss. I love this coaster. It's one of the best coasters made by CCI. I think it's even better than even the Raven or the Legend, both at Holiday World. That's how good this coaster is. It's very intense. The turns are good. It uses the terrain pretty well. The airtime is awesome, even though this coaster has a twister layout. And overall, I think this is a very good wooden coaster. I haven't ridden this coaster in any other row besides the front row, so that's why I don't really know what the experiences are like in the other rows besides the front, but front row is the best on this ride. And number 1 is Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast, the Premier Rides Lunch Coaster. And this is one of the 2 coasters in the park to go backwards. The other one being their Vekoma Boomerang. This coaster has an inverted top hat, which is a pretty rare element to find on a roller coaster, which you launch backwards, go through the top hat backwards, go on a turn, and then you go up this vertical spike, then you drop, do everything again with the inverted top hat and the turn, and then you hit the brakes. It's a very short ride experience, but definitely a very memorable ride. The theming is awesome for this ride, don't get me wrong. There's only one other clone of this, which is fine, but I really like this coaster. I consider it the best coaster at Six Flags St. Louis.